State Fair, and more importantly, welcome to the State Police Exhibit. Now, who here is excited to see the best underwater show at the fair?
Yeah!
All right, and we are excited to show it to you. We've got a great crowd today. But first, let me introduce you to the rest of my crew. First, coming up behind that tank is my training coordinator out of headquarters. First time, every time, Tech Sergeant Josh Cross. Next up is the Seneca Lake Sea Cow, the Troop E Senior Diver, Tech Sergeant Don Will. Take a look at his entrance photo right here. Ah yes, there he is. We'll explain that in a little bit. Next up is your very own, the Troop D Senior Diver, Smooth G, Tech Sergeant Greg Eberl. Greg has been a trooper for 32 years. Yes. Before I introduce the host of your show, I want to introduce a special guest in the audience today, a member of another state agency that we do a lot of work with. Right here, Garrett Dean. Yes, thank you. All right, lastly, the host of your show, Tech Sergeant Seth Little.
Okay. Well, thanks, boss. Because of that, they ran out of music to introduce me.
I know, that's why I had to rush it. I'm sorry.
And that is Chief Technical Sergeant Neil Case, Division Headquarters, Division Dive Officer, otherwise known as my OT Authority. All right, listen. Before we begin, get these guys in the tank, I'm going to give you a brief history lesson of the New York State Police Dive Team. 1932, that's when we logged our first dive. That makes us the oldest, and we are also the largest public safety dive team in the whole of the United States.
Yeah!
Now in 1932, you can see up there, we had a hard helmet, canvas suit, lead belt, lead shoes. Altogether, the weight was well over 100 pounds. But the fact is troopers continue to do what they've always done. They're issued equipment, they get the job done with what they have. Now, in 1943, there was a smart fellow by the name of Jacques Cousteau. He invented the aqua lung. It's what we commonly refer to as SCUBA. SCUBA is an acronym. It stands for self-contained underwater breathing apparatus. It took the hundreds of pounds of equipment, condensed it down to about 40 pounds or so, made divers a lot more maneuverable in the water. Now at the speed of government, in 1957, the New York State Police decided to adopt SCUBA as its preferred method of dive, and so we wanted to learn from the best. Where does that mean that we went? We went to the Navy. The Navy, we went down, we sent representatives down to the Navy Dive School in New Jersey. They graduated the school, they brought their lessons back, and now we've actually started our own novice dive school in the early 60s. Boss, tell us about it.
We do. We have one of the most difficult schools. We have 18 scuba instructors on staff. They're all troopers. And it's a 10-week school, and we train our new members from non-diver all the way up through advanced open water. And we are one of the only police agencies in the entire country that conducts our own training.
All right. So, he's not kidding when he says it's one of the most difficult, because the fact is to become a trooper, it's a competitive position. You got to have a lot of competitive spirit. You got to got those juices flowing. But in order to be one of these guys up on the tank, we take the best of the best. All right? All those who try out have to be troopers, and out of the troopers who try out, only 1/3 will make it up there, 2/3 wash out. Give them a hand up there. Good job, guys.
Hey, Seth.
Yes, boss.
What do you say we get these guys in the water?
All right, good idea. Well, hey, kids, if you want to come up and sit down in front of the tank, might be a little way up here. Not too bad, though. But if you want to come up, sit down in front of the tank, get a bird's eye view of the divers, be our guest. Come on up. See a diver up close.
A lot of people here.
I
Come
know.
over, kids.
All right. So, listen, fellas, we're not here just for any old dive show. This is a New York State Police dive show, right, Josh and Don? All right. So, in that being said, listen, Josh, don't worry about putting your gear on right now. You guys are going to be putting your gear on underwater. No, you're not good. You're excellent. And that is why you're going to be putting your gear on underwater. We're going to have ourselves a little race to begin this demonstration. You want to see a race? Do you want to see a race?
Yeah!
All right, that's better. Now.
Did we mention the rule about no crying?
No crying, that's right. Kids, if you get wet up there, no crying. That's a rule. All right, listen. Listen, one of the reasons we actually do this is because we want our divers to make sure that they're not going to panic if they're in an uncomfortable situation. So they need to be able to take their gear off and put it on while they are underwater. No panicking. But we do like to have fun doing this. So that being the case, I want to know, based on your response, who do you think's going to win this race? We got on my left up there, the hero of Troop H, Josh Cross. First time, every time. And on my right, we have the elusive Seneca Lake Sea Cow down below.
Oh, Donnie's crowd favorite every time. You know, interesting fact about Donnie is that he has not one, but 2 sets of twins at home.
He's a very virile sea cow. All right, Donnie. Okay, so I'm going to want your encouragement for them. They want your encouragement, so when I say go, we're going to give them a countdown. We're going to go 3, 2, 1, dive. So go! 3, 2.
Wait, stop.
Still stopping.
Yeah,
Okay.
every time. Listen, we've got at least 1,000 people here, and I know they can do way better than that.
For sure.
Right?
All right. Are you ready to see divers in the water? Okay. Go! 3, 2, 1, dive! First thing you're going to notice, they're going to go down to that tank. They're going to get their gear. They're going to put their breathing regulator in their mouth. Once they get that in their mouth, there is no reason to panic because they're breathing. Everything else is copacetic. They put their gear on, and one arm at a time. And the Donnie, the Seneca Lake Sea Cow is done. Give him a hand. Give him a hand. All right. The scuba equipment that they have starts off with a high pressure tank. That tank holds air. It's not oxygen, it's actually air. 79% nitrogen, 20% oxygen, 1% something else. And so then that high pressure goes into a regulator, which regulates it down to low pressure, sending it down a hose, sending it to the breathing regulator, which goes into their mouth, giving them air at ambient pressures, allowing them to dive. That tank is also attached to a BCD, a buoyancy control device. What buoyancy is, it's going vertical in the water column. Positively buoyant, adding air to your tank and your system there. You go up. If you dump air out of your BCD, then you go down. That's negatively buoyant. Right now, they are neutrally buoyant. Hi. They're neutrally buoyant. And it looks easy, okay, but it's not. It's actually an advanced technique to learn. But when you are neutrally buoyant, your fins work better, you use less energy, you save more air, you get the job done better. And they are good at it. There are masks that they have on. Guys, why don't you show the kids how you got the water out of your masks, okay? And if you guys look up at the screen right here, you'll see a picture of Josh Cross. He'll show you the same thing. Get the water out of their mask. Once that water gets in there, all they're going to do is they're just going to create a little pressure on top of their mask, and they're going to blow air out of their nose. Hopefully they didn't have milk. Josh here didn't. But you'll see the bubbles go up into the mask, and then it will push the air or push the water out of the mask. They'll be able to get along their merry way. Now the mask, because there's a little air between the eye and the lens, you actually see things under the water 25% closer and 33% larger. So, Josh Cross almost looks the size of Greg Ebro right up there on that tank, right? You've always wanted to grow up. When you grow up, you want to be like Greg, right? All right, there you go. All right, so one of the things also that we use as a qualification measure to get on the team is you have to do an underwater breath hold. This is why we have Don Willen there, and we've labeled him the Seneca Lake Sea Cow, because this breath hold qualification, you have to swim the length of a pool without coming up for air. And Don Will can actually swim the length of 3 Olympic pools. That's over 220 feet underwater without coming up for air. So give Don a hand. All right. Now the reason that we do that, again, is we don't want divers to panic, because before we graduate the school, we dive to depths of 132 feet. 132 feet, if you look to the top of this tower right here, that is 60 feet tall. So add another tower on top of that, 12 more feet, that's how deep we go. And so when you're at those depths, you want to know that you can handle yourself and not panic. So what if something happens or goes wrong? Well, first of all, again, do not panic. But then secondly, you're always diving with a dive buddy. And so we're gonna have Josh here. He's gonna demonstrate what he would do if something happened to his equipment because of pressures. So he's saying, hey, Donnie, my air's not working, I need help. Donnie comes over there, he takes his regulator and actually puts it right in his friend's mouth, and then he takes the safety second, puts it in his. They're sharing air off that one tank. They give each other the okay sign and say, let's go up, let's abort the dive. They're going to rise up to the surface there. They're going to go at a leisurely pace of 30 feet per minute in order to avoid decompression sickness, which is also known as the bends. That's right, the diver's mortal enemy. And so they'll get up there, and then they will decide, you know, do we want to continue? Do we want to abort the whole thing and come back tomorrow? And then they'll be about their merry way. Now, after we graduate the school, you are part of URT. We are an underwater recovery team. Our main mission is search and rescue. Our motto is, if it's in there, we're going to find it. And if we didn't find it, Boston, that means...
Well, then obviously it was never there.
Obviously it was never there. And the reason is because we are a police diving team, and so when we go to a scene, it is actually a crime scene underwater. If you've gone into the exhibit over there, you see what they have laid out as a crime scene above water. We have those things underwater, and if you look up there, you'll see some remains, you'll see some guns, some other things. And the fact is that fingerprints can remain on weapons for up to 70 to 90 days after they've been introduced into the water. You can also get some DNA evidence or something like that. And so anytime that you come up to a scene, you want to make sure that you take particular care. Because if there was nefarious purpose about it, then we want to make sure that the right people go to jail. We want to get it done the right way. Okay? And so we have proven methods in order to do this. But the first thing you have to do is you have to learn how to move like an octopus. The octopus is our spirit animal up there, okay? It's what we call our mascot. If you see the octopus move over the floor of the ocean, it's touching everything. It's going into every crack, every crevice. And so the water that we dive in, it doesn't look like it's in that tank or up there. It looks like what's in that little bin over there. And so we want to make sure that we're touching everything. And not only are we doing that, but we're using lines to make sure that we are going everywhere where we're at. A grid search. So we're going to give you an example of what a grid search would look like. First with a rescue and then for evidence. So I'm going to need an volunteer. I see somebody. Come on up. Come on. Come on. The one in the gray shirt there. You're good. All right. Come on over. Today. Come on. Come on. All right. What's your name?
Nathan.
Nathan. All right. Come over here, Nate. Or would you prefer Nathan? Doesn't matter? Okay. All right. All right. Nate, you are my rock. All right. You are my surface, my land specialist. Okay. So grab hold of this rope right here. All right, and I'm going to have my boss, he's going to be a lost diver, all right? And so we just got called out to a situation where there was a diver in the water. He was working in the water here. He's working on some docks, and all of a sudden nobody saw bubbles anymore. And so they called the police, said something's wrong. We come along, we got to get in the water, and we got to save him, all right? So you're right there. You're not going to move, all right? You understanding? All right, and I'm over here. I'm the diver. Nate and I are going to have communication together because we have a line. And so Nate, give me a couple tugs on that line right there. There you go. All right. I give him a couple tugs back. Now I know it's time to go. So I'm starting to dive. This is a pendulum search because I'm going back and forth like a clock pendulum. Makes sense, right? And so Nate sees that I'm coming up to a place here where I can't go anymore, so he gives me a couple tugs. Give me a couple tugs. There you go. I'm like, all right. I acknowledge it. I turn around. I give him a couple tugs. But this time he's not going to let go of the line, but he's going to give me more line. Give me more line. There you go. There, hold tight right there. And so this is the grid part of it. I move out just a little bit. I come back like the pendulum. I save my boss. He grants me the OT authority. And good job, Nate. Give him a hand. All right, the next grid search that we would use to find weapons or something of that nature. Maybe something a little smaller in the water. This is called a jackstay. And you'll see there's a line that is connecting two weights. You take those weights, you separate them, creates tension on the line, they put it down, and then they follow, the diver grabs the line and then starts diving and starts following the line with one hand and one hand on the floor or the riverbed or whatever. Up here you'll see a picture of Suburban Park Pond, and what we would do is we would just go back and forth. All right, this sounds tedious, but the fact is that last year, my team down in Troop C, we actually searched up to 6 acres of water. okay, with this search. It was over 280 dives in water that was darker than that. All right, and so it takes a lot of work, a lot of concentration, because when you're diving and you can't see anything, you start seeing things. You know what I'm saying? So we got Josh Cross in there. Josh is going to give us a demonstration, and Greg, we got some weapon or something like that, some sort of example, right? Oh, revolver. Old school.
Yeah, remember 32
years, that's right. It's always good to have one of those handy. All right, so Josh is going to blindfold himself. In the school, we make sure that as the divers learn this, they cannot see, all right? We black out their masks. And so he's coming down the line there. And as he gets to the weight, he's searching everywhere. He's gonna move that weight over. You can see it right there. As he moves it over, he's gonna turn around. He's gonna check everywhere. Just like that octopus that goes into the cracks, into the crevices. He is an octopus right now, and he's turning around. He's hovering, he's moving, and as he comes back, we're gonna see if he finds what he's looking for. My guess is first time, every time. Josh Cross does. Give him a hand. Good job, Josh. First time, every time. Josh, you got yourself a little snack in there? Yeah? Give yourself a little break. You've been working hard in there. All right, banana, good. Potassium keeps the cramps away.
Hey Seth, while he's eating that banana underwater, why don't you tell me what we would use if we were looking for something smaller, maybe like a bullet casing?
Is it up on this list, boss?
It should be.
Okay, well, right up there we got a diver propulsion vehicle. No, that's not it. ROV, no. Sonar. Metal detector. That makes sense to me, so I'm going to need another volunteer over here. All right, green sweatshirt, come on up. I see you're very excited. And your name is?
David.
David. All right, David, come on over here. All right, David, you ever used a metal detector before? Oh, you have, huh? You're an expert then. Oh, okay. He says no, but I think he is. All right, so we're going to put a scuba glove on you there so you don't get your hands all muddy. And then grab the metal detector with the other hand. All right. Now, let's see if it's working. Go ahead and put it. All right, you hear that? What's it detecting, David? What's that? Well, it's sort of like gold. It's 30 years of marriage. That's why it's so strong. All right, so David, go ahead. Put this in the water. Start going back and forth under the water there. See if it detects anything in the water. Back and forth, just like an octopus, you know. Move. Oh, now with your other hand, go ahead, reach in there into the mud. See if you can pull out whatever happens to be in there. And he, no, nothing there. Okay, search again. Got to be there, right? Let's see. Oh, there it is. It must have moved a little bit on you. What do we got? It's not easy to work with gloves, is it? There it is. Go ahead, reach down there, grab whatever it happens to be. Oh, what is that, David? He's not sure because it's a flip phone. Okay? If it was a smartphone, I think that he probably would have recognized it. But, you know, there is a push for kids to go back to these now. All right. Very good, David. Now, lastly, we have Josh Cross. He's driving it like he stole it in there for the kids. And so we're going to simulate if we wanted to try and find a stolen four-wheeler. This four-wheeler was dropped into a riverbed. And you know what we can do is if there is some racing fuel in there or something that might be caustic to divers, why not put a robot in there first? Robots don't have feelings, they can't get hurt. And so that robot's almost attacking Josh Cross there. He got a little upset, I think. All right, he's trying to get, so that robot though has an HD camera. That HD camera's coming down. Kids, wave to the camera. Wave to the camera. All right. These robots are a lot of fun, but they're also very useful. The fact is, about 4 years, we actually recovered something from 575 feet with this robot. All right, so they have their purpose for sure. And so it's found that four-wheeler over there. It's going to attach itself to the four-wheeler, and it's going to be a go for what do we need next? Not a robot, but we need
A person!
a person. Do we still like people?
Yeah.
He's saying no. I saw it. I like people. I love you guys. All right, but I'll tell you who I love most of all. My man up there, Greg. All right, Greg is in a surface supply air system, and he's got a helmet on. I told you before that we came away from these helmets, but we have found reason to go back to them. And one of those is if you lift something up, something goes bad, what goes up must come down. We want to protect his beautiful bald head, and it gets scratched very easily. So Greg, are you ready to get into the water? All right, go ahead, Greg. We have communications with him. We can also give him endless amounts of air from our surface supply air system over there. And he goes down into the water. He makes a touchdown. Give him a hand. Looks like you're doing the floss there, Greg, with the, nope. Get back down there. Yep, there it is. Okay, there we go. All right, so Greg, follow that line of that robot to the four-wheeler, all right? Go ahead, follow the line to the four-wheeler there. So he's going over there, and he sees the four-wheeler, gets the robot out of the way. So Greg, how are you going to lift that four-wheeler out of the water? He's going to use science. He reaches into his science pocket, and he's got a lift bag. That lift bag comes in various sizes. Goes all the way from 50 to several thousand pounds, and depending on what you're lifting up, you can put one lift bag or several. All right. Right now we have a four-wheeler. He's got one lift bag in there on it. It's all the same principle. It's Archimedes' principle. All right. So he's going to need some bubbles. So he's showing us right there.
Topside, sending bubbles.
And topside is going to send him some bubbles. And so those bubbles are going to be on their way there. And there they are. All right, Greg, don't get distracted by the bubbles. Stick that right up the old lift bag. All right, there it goes. It's going to expand, and water is 800 times more dense than air. So as air expands in that bag, the pressure of the water will push it up. That is Archimedes' principle, and Greg did it. The principle wins every time. Science. Give me a hand. Look at the hang time. Woo! Been working on those legs.
32 years on the job, and he's still got it.
Still got it.
All right, so the fact is, every single time that these guys go underwater, whether it's for training or to recover a victim or evidence, they're putting their lives on the line. So if you could, please all join me in thanking them for what they do every day. Thanks, guys.
All right, it's been my pleasure to be your guide on this underwater adventure. The next show is going to be coming up fairly soon. That's the Canines. Don't lose your seat. If you want some New York State Police swag, that shirt right there is available over at the Trooper Foundation along with other things. They help support us. We would appreciate it if you help support them. And also, kids, if you want your picture in front of the diver, adults, you can come over and take their picture, or adults, you can take your picture in front of the diver. All right? Best poser in the New York State Police. He's looking lonely right now. Don't leave him. Don't leave him. Come on. Other than that, have a great day at the New York State Fair. Thank you very much.